Welcome to the news here on IETV and to our viewers on IETVTT.com. I'm Micah Dume. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, the MV Blue Wave Harmony to sail daily as efforts continue to stabilize the sea bridge. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine says Brent Thomas matter has regional implications, should not be downplayed. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar praised by Chief Secretary Farley Augustine for strong CARICOM leadership. In our top story, the MV Blue Wave Harmony cargo vessel is scheduled to sail from Port of Spain to Scarborough at 2 p.m. Monday to Friday this week as authorities work to restore stability to the inter-island sea bridge. The Trinidad and Tobago Inter-Island Transportation Company released the schedule over the weekend, signaling a return to a measure of normalcy. Passengers will also be permitted to travel alongside truckers on the vessel. The ship is scheduled to depart Tobago at 11 p.m. each day. The MV Blue Wave Harmony arrived in Trinidad and Tobago on January 22nd, 10 days after the withdrawal of the Cabo Star from service. However, the transition between vessels was marked by challenges, with Tobago's business community, farmers and residents reporting shortages of supplies. The vessel has been undergoing sea trials as Captain Tim Fenech familiarized himself with the inter-island route. Full service was delayed due to mechanical issues with the vessel's ramp, along with damage to the hull following an incident near the Tobago jetty. Minister of Works and Infrastructure Jerlene John, speaking with a media house, confirmed that night sea trials concluded yesterday. She said the vessel has been servicing the sea bridge over the past week with full cargo loads and that she visited the Port of Spain twice last Monday to observe operations. According to the minister, there is currently no cargo backlog at the port, as the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has been clearing the yard with each sailing. She maintained that despite criticism in some quarters, the vessel is capable of handling the route, adding that sea trials were necessary to address operational issues. A local marine pilot has also been assisting the captain. Minister John further stated that any shortages in Tobago were due to an insufficient number of suppliers serving the island. Meanwhile, Tobago Chief Secretary Farley Augustine acknowledged disruptions to cargo service last Sunday, noting that THA-managed Studley Park Enterprises Limited was unable to secure a reliable supply of bitumen from Trinidad. He said the Tobago House of Assembly is considering compensating businesses for losses incurred. On Thursday, the THA invited businesses to submit estimates of losses between January 12th and February 26th to the Economic Management Research Unit of the Division of Finance.
Friday sailings had 182 vehicles. Friday sailing had 30 trucks and trailers, 100 trucks, 21 vans, 11 cars, had 8 containers 20 feet in length. We had 8 flatbeds 40 feet in length. But if I go back to the previous days, I'm realizing a similar pattern. We have to work on warehousing. We have to work on factories and what we produce, because it cannot be that our permanent solution is to just have a boat that works all the time. That cannot be the solution. That cannot be how we achieve food security.
On a different topic, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine has responded to comments made by Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar concerning the issue involving Brent Thomas, insisting that the matter should not be downplayed. Secretary Augustine noted that the aircraft used in the incident was operated by the Regional Security System, which he described as a CARICOM asset. He pointed out, however, that Trinidad and Tobago is not a signatory to the RSS agreement. The Chief Secretary further stated that in light of a court ruling and what he described as an admission of illegality by the Barbadian government, the issue carries regional implications. Augustine maintained that under these circumstances, the matter warrants serious regional scrutiny, and should not be dismissed.
The second thing she pointed out is the matter with Mr. Brent. In fact, I'm seeing all the debate over semantics, over the use of the word kidnapping or abduction. But really and truly, it is the courts, our courts, a judge in court, that actually used the term abduction that said that he was illegally removed. And if he was illegally removed using an RSS plane, and by the way, Trinidad and Tobago is not a signatory to the RSS, but using an RSS plane, which is a CARICOM asset, then I think CARICOM, in fact, has something to answer. Because our courts have said that it was illegal. The Barbadian government at one point admitted it was illegal. So why is that issue such a difficult one that ought not to be addressed?
Additionally, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine has welcomed statements made by Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar during the recent CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, describing them as timely and necessary for addressing regional issues. Secretary Augustine said the Prime Minister's remarks struck the right tone on matters affecting the Caribbean, particularly as the region continues to face shared challenges that require coordinated responses. He noted that strong, clear positions at the regional level are critical to advancing cooperation and safeguarding the interests of member states. He added that leadership of this nature is essential in ensuring that CARICOM remains responsive and effective in dealing with regional concerns.
But Maduro is no more. Maduro is gone. And despite what people felt about the Prime Minister's international relations policies, the truth is she was right on Maduro. I remember at one time people were trying to invoke all sense of fear in the space, saying Venezuela got bombed, Venezuela will do this, we can't respond. And I continue to take as Tobago's position, and I want to be clear, notwithstanding me saying the Prime Minister is right on identifying these as an issue, and notwithstanding me respecting the Prime Minister's ability in law to make these decisions, and she is whom the people voted for. The Prime Minister pointed out that she nor her government nor Trinidad and Tobago is in support of leaders in CARICOM interfering in the internal elections and democratic processes of other countries. I don't know what's in that to not agree with. And the truth is, in recent times, we have started seeing all of a sudden Caribbean leaders going and campaigning, actually campaigning themselves, by campaigning for themselves in other jurisdictions. And of course, that brings difficulty in the relationship among CARICOM leaders. And I think that's a reasonable position to have.
We pause for a moment. More news when we come back.
Perfection doesn't happen by chance. Like an artist, the cook selects the main ingredient, one that is worthy of a proud cultural tradition. Trusted to enhance your creations with its richness and versatility. To create a cooking masterpiece, the secret is simple. The brand we know, the brand we trust, the brand our ancestors have been using for generations.
There is only one pure cow brand ghee. Look for the marks of authenticity.
Tile Expressions Limited, as one of the largest importers of tiles, offers an extensive range of high-quality tiles in ceramic, porcelain, granite, stone, and mosaic options. Additionally, we offer a variety of tile accessories and bathroom sets to complement any decor style. We are committed to providing exceptional customer service and swift delivery of all products. From indoor and outdoor tiles to bathroom sets and tile accessories, we have curated a range that caters to both traditional and modern taste. Lampus 13, Ajudha Road, Munro Road, Canopio. Call 223-8453.
Welcome back. Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, is urging migrants to take full advantage of the government's migrant registration framework as in-person interviews officially got underway this week. Speaking with reporters at the Ato Boldon Stadium, Minister Alexander reminded migrants that failure to register could carry serious consequences. Last Wednesday, February 25th, marks the final day for online registration under the framework. In-person interviews officially begun on Monday at the Hazley Crawford Stadium, Larry Gomes Stadium and the Atto Boldon Stadium in Vancouver. These sessions are scheduled to continue until March 27th. Registration in Tobago is set to begin tomorrow, Tuesday, at the Dwight York Stadium and will run until next Wednesday, March 11th. The migrant registration framework is intended to regularize the status of undocumented migrants, improve national security oversight, and ensure access to essential services, while authorities continue to warn that non-compliance may result in enforcement action.
If we provided something for you, for your own benefit, then come and register. That's all we ask. If you fail to, then the consequences must be yours. You see, what we're doing here is something that it should have been done in the first instance. And it was recklessly done. We are changing the game.
As the turtle nesting season began on March 1st, the government of Trinidad and Tobago moved to enforce strict measures, warning that breaches of the law will be met with firm action. The Ministry of Defense has implemented a coordinated enforcement strategy in collaboration with partner agencies to protect nesting sites nationwide. Officials said a heightened security presence will be maintained at vulnerable beaches with rapid responses to reports of illegal activity. Authorities have made it clear that poaching, reckless driving on beaches, and any behavior that threatens conservation efforts will not be tolerated. The measures form part of what the ministry described as a disciplined and uncompromising approach to safeguarding the country's natural heritage. Beyond enforcement, members of the public are being urged to do their part by reducing or switching off bright lights near nesting areas, avoiding restricted zones unless authorized, and reporting any suspicious or unlawful activity. This is not entertainment, the ministry stressed, reminding citizens that the nesting season is a critical period for endangered sea turtles and a matter of national responsibility. Minister of Defense Wayne Sturge said the government is acting early and decisively to ensure the protection of nesting turtles and called on all citizens to treat the season with the seriousness it deserves. A man from Diego Martin was shot and killed inside a home in Barataria on Sunday, March 1st. The victim has been identified as Rivaldo Pair of Jilks Street, Forwards, Diego Martin. The fatal shooting occurred inside a house along 10th Street, where police were processing the scene. Officers from the Northeastern Division, along with investigators from the Region 2 Homicide Bureau of Investigations, are conducting inquiries into the circumstances surrounding the killing. The Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs has expressed Trinidad and Tobago's support for continued United States actions in the Middle East, citing the need to prevent oppressive regimes from acquiring nuclear weapons in the interest of global peace and security. In Advisory Number 2, dated February 28, 2026, the ministry said the proliferation of nuclear weapons poses a serious threat to the international community and reaffirmed Trinidad and Tobago's position in favor of measures aimed at preventing such developments. The ministry also extended condolences for the loss of life arising from the ongoing conflict and reiterated its support for peaceful coexistence among all nations. In its statement, the ministry signaled Trinidad and Tobago's solidarity with Gulf states, including the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Bahrain, and the State of Qatar, particularly those reported to have come under attack. It condemned in the strongest terms any acts of aggression that threaten the sovereignty, security, and stability of these countries, emphasizing that the safety of Trinidad and Tobago nationals abroad remains a top priority. The ministry urged citizens in affected areas to shelter in place and strictly follow instructions from local authorities amid reports of missile strikes in several locations. Nationals have also been advised to refrain from traveling to the Middle East at this time. The ministry said it will continue to closely monitor developments and engage international partners as necessary, reaffirming the government's commitment to protecting citizens at home and abroad while promoting peace, stability, and international cooperation. You're watching IETV News. We'll return after these messages.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canoopia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Are you renewing your motor, homeowner or business insurances shortly? Then call Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, for a competitive quote. With 2 locations, Todd Street, El Socorro and 5 Rivers, Arouca. Please call us at 221-5051 or 227-5051. Kalyani Limited, agency for Tatil, building relationships exceeding expectations.
Welcome back. 3 United States fighter jets were shot down late Sunday night in what American officials have confirmed was a friendly fire incident during a high-intensity military operation linked to Operation Epic Fury. In a statement, U.S. Central Command said the incident occurred around 11:03 p.m. Eastern Time on March 1st as 3 F-15E Strike Eagles were operating over Kuwait in support of ongoing military actions in the region. Officials described the airspace at the time as extremely volatile, with reported engagements involving Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles and drones. Amid the confusion, Kuwaiti air defense systems mistakenly identified and engaged the U.S. jets, striking all 3 aircraft, which subsequently went down within Kuwaiti territory. All 6 aircrew members aboard the fighters successfully ejected and were quickly located and recovered. U.S. military officials confirmed that all are in stable condition and that no fatalities were reported. Kuwaiti authorities have acknowledged the incident, while U.S. officials expressed appreciation for the swift response and cooperation of Kuwaiti Defense Forces during both the recovery operation and the wider mission. The incident highlights the dangers of operating in congested and fast-moving combat environments, particularly as regional tensions continue to escalate following U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. An investigation has been launched to determine how the misidentification occurred and whether procedural or technical failures contributed to the friendly fire strike. Let's now take a look at some international news.
U.S. officials confirming that at least one of the 4 people shot and killed on that Florida speedboat off the coast of Cuba was a U.S. citizen, and one of the 6 people wounded, a second U.S. citizen. Police say the U.S. speedboat involved in the gun battle was reported stolen from this boat launch in the Florida Keys earlier this week. Cuba claiming the men were trying to infiltrate the island for terrorist purposes. The speedboat, according to the Cuban Ministry of Interior, reached within a nautical mile of the El Pino Channel when Cuban patrol boats approached the vessel. The Cubans claiming those on board the U.S. boat opened fire, prompting the Cubans to return fire. Cuba claims the suspects were armed with assault rifles, Molotov cocktails, and bulletproof vests, but provided no proof. The brother of a man he says was one of the boat's occupants, telling the Associated Press his brother had become obsessed with the quest for Cuba's freedom. The island nation is in the middle of a crippling energy crisis amid a U.S. quarantine of oil shipments. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday saying the U.S. will conduct its own investigation.
It is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that. We're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us.
A defiant Hillary Clinton testifying for hours before the Republican-led House Oversight Committee investigating sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times.
The former Secretary of State, Senator, and First Lady denouncing the hearing as partisan political theater. calling it an abdication of duty and an insult to the American people. In a blistering opening statement, Clinton insisting she and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, were being forced to testify to distract attention from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. And then she sat for hours of questions.
It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself.
Though they would not let Clinton testify in public, Republicans still looking for a political advantage.
Why did you send the picture? Why not?
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert secretly snapping this picture, sharing it with conservative influencer Benny Johnson, who then posted it online. The hearing briefly pausing before it resumed.
One of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements.
Republican Chairman James Comer adding this.
The number of times that she said, I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband, was more than a dozen.
Republicans were pushed to explain why they called Clinton to testify at all.
And we're not accusing Hillary Clinton of wrongdoing. We know that Jeffrey Epstein said many times in emails that he was the first person to raise money for the Clinton initiative. And again, that's not saying anything's illegal, but there are a lot of questions pertaining to Secretary Clinton.
But Republicans have refused to call President Trump to testify, despite his long friendship with Epstein. Clinton today making light of some of the questions they asked her.
It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs.
When we return, your weather update and more. Stay tuned.
In our lives, there are moments that need to be remembered. Are you hosting a Ramayana Yagya, religious or cultural event or celebration? Would you like to have it aired live on IETV or recorded for playback later? We will air your program on IETV and IE Radio, with your viewers joining locally and internationally. Your family and friends worldwide can view on www.ietvtt.com or listen on ieradiott.com. To make arrangements, call or WhatsApp IETV at 784-9880. Let us record your cherished moments and share it.
Welcome back to IETV's Major News. Let's take a look at today's weather forecast. In today's weather update, Monday, March 2nd, was partly cloudy to sunny across Trinidad and Tobago with warm and humid conditions dominating for most of the day. Periods of increased cloudiness developed during the afternoon, bringing isolated to scattered showers, mainly across central, eastern and southern areas, while other districts remained generally fair. Daytime temperatures reached around 32 to 33 degrees in Trinidad and near 31 in Tobago. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy, becoming occasionally cloudy at times with the chance of a few brief showers, particularly over eastern and southern districts. Conditions may turn slightly hazy, with overnight temperatures dropping to around 24 to 25 degrees. Winds will be light to moderate, allowing for generally settled conditions. Tomorrow, Tuesday, March 3rd, is forecast to be partly cloudy and warm, with humid conditions continuing. There's a low to moderate chance of showers mainly during the afternoon and early evening, favoring central and southern Trinidad, while northern areas and Tobago should remain mostly fair. Maximum temperatures are expected to reach around 32 degrees in Trinidad and near 31 in Tobago. Seas are moderate with wave heights up to 1.5 meters in open waters and around 1 meter in sheltered areas. Winds are east to east northeasterly at 15 to 20 knots. Small craft operators are advised to exercise caution, especially in open waters. Let's take a look at some crime news. In some crime news, an intelligence-led operation conducted by officers of the Northern Division North have resulted in the arrest of 4 suspects and the seizure of a firearm and ammunition. The exercise was carried out between 2 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Tuesday, 24th February, within the Northern Division North. The operation was spearheaded by ACP Singh, Senior Superintendent Maynard Wilson, Superintendent Mackenzie. It was supervised by Corporal Osana and included officers attached to the ARIMA charge room and the ARIMA Intelligence and Operations Unit. Around 2 a.m., officers conducting a street check exercise observed a white Mitsubishi wagon. The driver looked in the direction of the police, turned the vehicle abruptly and sped off in the opposite direction. Officers pursued the vehicle and successfully intercepted it a short distance away. A search of the vehicle led to the discovery and seizure of several number plates. 4 male suspects were arrested in connection with the find. Subsequently, around 11:30 a.m., officers acting on intelligence information revisited the general area where the suspects were initially detained. A comprehensive search of the eastern side of the roadway at the corner of Daniel Trace and the Train Line Road, Malabar, ARIMA, resulted in the discovery of one 9mm Glock pistol fitted with a magazine containing 14 rounds of 9mm ammunition. The fire and ammunition was seized. The scene was processed and photographed by officers of the Northern Division Crime Scene Investigations Unit. Investigations are ongoing into the matter. Officers of the Southern and Southwestern Divisions seized several rounds of ammunition and a quantity of cannabis during coordinated exercises conducted on 25th February. Between 7:30 p.m. and 11 p.m., officers of the Southern Division Task Force Area East conducted an intelligence-led exercise in St. Mary's Village, Moruga. Acting on information received, the team proceeded to a forested area approximately 400 meters off Pui Road, where a search was conducted. During the exercise, officers discovered 46 rounds of 5.56mm ammunition concealed inside a pair of socks. The ammunition was seized pending further inquiries. In a separate exercise within the Southwestern Division at approximately 11:30 a.m., Corporal Hernandez Williams, WPC Williams, and officers attached to the Southwestern Division Task Force Area West proceeded to an address along 4th Street to Share Village, Point Fortin. A search of an abandoned house resulted in the discovery of 11 rounds of 5.56mm ammunition and approximately 1.6 kilograms of cannabis. The items were subsequently seized. Investigations into both matters are ongoing. Recapping the headlines, the MV Blue Wave Harmony to sail daily as efforts continue to stabilize Sea Bridge. Chief Secretary Foley Augustine says Brent Thomas matter has regional implications should not be downplayed. Prime Minister Kamala Persad praised by Chief Secretary Foley Augustine for strong CARICOM leadership. Well, this is where we leave you for now. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Micah Dume. Thank you for joining us.